I honestly don't know what possessed me to think I could make this list. But here we are, my predicted top 20 players in 2030. Welcome to AFL Insight. I mean, someone had to take the mantle from Max, right? Sherry was selected in the All-Australian squad for the first time in 2024. He led all ruckmen in tackles and clearances and was top 10 across the entire league in both categories. The big man thrived with a bit of continuity, which should see his confidence grow over the next few years. He gets plenty of the ball, averaging the same amount of disposals as Brodie Grundy, and hit the scoreboard regularly, kicking the 8 majors across the season. The North Melbourne midfield will look pretty fearsome in a few years' time, and it will be this bloke feeding them the ball on a platter and doing the grunt work to protect them. This guy could be outside the top 100 or right at the top of this list in 2030. That's how great his ceiling could be. The athletic traits are there for all of us to see. At 2 metres tall, he is quick, agile, has a prodigious leap, can take a grab and kick a goal. The main dilemma for Damien Hardwick is where to play him. He spent the majority of the year in a key defensive post, but went forward late in the year and proved himself to be a match winner. He got himself the monster contract. Can he live up to it? There were multiple players I could have gone with here. Kitty Coleman, Max Michelini, Colby McKercher, but I went with Wanganeen Millera. In his 3rd season, he finished top 5 in the Saints' best and fairest, and was such a huge catalyst behind the Saints' late-year resurgence in 2024. Full of class, poise, speed, agility and skill, this guy has the ability to win multiple All-Australian selections. Let's see if Ross the Boss keeps using him like the weapon he is. What an intriguing prospect this guy is, blessed with all the athletic traits one could ever hope for. Josh Weddle is an excitement machine. Whilst his numbers don't jump off the page, his influence on the game is massive. A true utility, this bloke can be used anywhere on the ground and he will make an immediate impact. His ceiling is much higher than 17th, but I've seen players like him come and go because they lack consistency. Does he have what it takes to push himself towards the very best players in the league? There are a few young key forwards I could have thrown in here. Cal Shadir, Jacob Van Rooyen, Aaron Cadman, but in the end I went with the Crows' big man. I was really encouraged by what I saw from Riley in the last month of the season. After missing most of the year through injury, in his last 4 games he kicked 9 goals, took multiple contested marks in each game, and had 15 marks inside 50, including 7 in the final round against the Swans. At 22 years of age, he is already ragdolling some of the biggest and strongest key defenders in the comp. What does that look like when he is a seasoned 27-year-old? The guy is a beast. Jai Newcombe is criminally underrated. Overlooked in his junior years by the Gippsland Power, he went undrafted and earned his spot on the Hawthorn list via the mid-season draft in 2021. He hasn't missed a beat since. In 2024, he would back up the previous season's 18 votes with 24 votes in the Brownlow medal. He would also be the catalyst of Hawthorn's rapid rise to prominence, winning the club's best and fairest. Remarkably, he would not be chosen in the All-Australian squad of 40. I've got a feeling it will just drive him to even greater heights. Having just turned 23 late in the season, yes, he is younger than teammate Will Day, Jai Newcombe will continue to prove people wrong. The ball-winning machine. By the time he is age 28, heading into the 2030 season, I fully expect Tom Green to not only be captain of the Giants, but a Brownlow medalist and a multi-time All-Australian and best and fairest winner. Why then is he not higher on the list? It's because I see his career playing out a bit like Ollie Wines. Great ball winner, tough as nails, strong and dependable, but somewhat flawed and not overly blessed with pace. And once you lose a yard in this game, it can quickly pass you by. I still think he'll be an incredibly influential footballer, just not as influential as the top 5 player in the comp that he has the potential to be over the next 5 seasons. For a 6-week period during 2024, Isaac Rankin was the most influential player in the league. 23 possessions and 3 goals in a round 5 victory on the road against the Blues. 17 touches and 4 goals against the Kangas in round 7. 3 goals and 2 goal assists in the showdown victory against the Power in round 8. 24 touches and 3 goals against the eventual premiers in a draw at the Adelaide Oval in round 9. And then he finished it off with an MCG masterpiece against the Pies, where he went for 30 possessions, 8 clearances, 8 inside 50s and a goal before he pinged his hamstring, trying to give the Crows one last shot at victory. At 24 years of age, Rankin still hasn't quite managed to put it all together and become the consistent match winner that he is capable of being. The game will be so much better for it if he ever does. At 22 years of age and already a 2-time All-Australian and a Bob Skilton medalist, it's hard not to envision Goulden continuing on his merry way. A genuine winger, he is so often the catalyst of the Swans' attacking game. But has the use of Goulden been found out in the finals? Errol would kick 15 goals and have 28 goal assists across the 2024 home and away season. During the finals, he would be held goalless and have just the 1 assist. A worrying trend, given he has scored just the 2 goals and had just the 1 goal assist across 8 finals matchups. The very top of this list belongs to players who are at their dynamic best when the lights turn their brightest. Errol has fallen just short of that in his very young career thus far. He has plenty of time to turn it around. Projecting the best key forward in the game was another prediction I really struggled with. I considered Josh Tracy, then had the thought that perhaps a 32-year-old Charlie Curnow could still be dominating. Then Ben King came to mind. The Gold Coast Suns have so much talent, and eventually the wheel must turn from mediocrity to true contenders. I don't think it's that far away, and King could be the man to lead them to the promised land. In 2024, he would finish 4th in the Coleman Medal, just 3 goals behind second place Jeremy Cameron, as he booted 55 goals for the 13th placed Suns. As the Suns rise up the rankings, so too will Ben King. How could anyone not admire this guy's courage and willingness to drive his team towards victory? At 24 years old, he has already won the AFL Coaches Association Best Player Award, been an All-Australian twice, and won 2 Best and Fairest awards. I don't see him slowing down anytime soon, and surely the accolades will continue to pile up. The umpires love him, as evidenced by his 56 total votes across the past 2 seasons. However, like Errol Goulden, Butters hasn't always been at his best during September, and for a midfielder who regularly hits the scoreboard, he has kicked just the 1 goal from 9 finals. He has also collected over 20 possessions just twice in those 9 games. Can he start reproducing his home and away form during the finals? Were we all taken a little bit aback by the Chris Judd comparisons? Danger certainly saw it, and we all got a glimpse of it in 2024. He won the first of what will be many Best and Fairest with the Cats, was in the All-Australian squad of 40, and may have been just a touch unlucky to miss the final team. If his hamstrings can hold up, I've got no doubt that he will achieve this recognition in time. I also love the fact that for such an attacking player with that rare burst of speed, that he gets back to help his teammates, leading all inside mids for rebound 50s across the league. If he can raise that goal kicking from 13 up into the mid to high 20s, look out. Charlie Curnow took 57 games to kick his first bag of 7 goals. Buddy did it in his 40th match. Jeremy Cameron took 32 games to get there. Sam Darcy did it in game 26. This bloke could be just as dominant in the ruck or at centre half back as he is up forward, which is why I am giving him the title of Best Big Man in the game in 2030. There is an air of dominance about this guy. He is super competitive and you can just tell that he wants to be the absolute best of the best. He could probably be a bit higher up on the list, but the league has obviously shifted to be a midfield dominant game. Lachie Neale, Dangerfield, Petrarca, Bontempelli, Dusty Martin, these are the guys that have driven their teams to premierships over the last decade, and I expect that trend to continue from any combination of the next 7 players. This man is on his way to a Lachie Neale type career. Already a dual All-Australian and a best and fairest, the 23-year-old Sarong is a model of consistency. Whilst he might not have the athletic traits of those around him on this list, he has an almost unparalleled footy IQ. Goal kicking is the only concern, as Sarong would manage only 19 goals in his first 4 seasons of footy. In the first 11 games of 2024, Caleb would be held goalless, and if that trend continued, he would probably not be this high on the list. Fortunately, he booted 11 goals across the final 12 games of the year to round out his almost complete game. Contest, clearance, and goal kicking is manna from heaven for umpires, and Sarong would gather 4 best on ground and dual 2-vote games in their second half of the season run. I fully expect Caleb to be at the top of his game for a very long time. Takes a special talent to win a club best and fairest in your debut season, regardless of how poor the team is surrounding you. But there was some critiques that he was an outside player and relied on handball receives to get into the game. In the back end of his second season, Harry would move into the midfield and become a genuine star. After kicking just the 1 goal in the first 10 matches of the season, Sheasel would kick 13 across the final 11 weeks. He would also reach double figures in contested possessions in 9 of those 11 games, including a whopping 25 to go along with 9 clearances, 36 touches and a goal against the Cats in round 20. This was a week after he would collect 35 possessions and kick 2 goals in a loss against the Blues. In his final 6 games of the season, Harry Sheasel would snag 11 Brownlow votes, 7 of which would come in losses. Watch out when the Kangas start winning. Will he still be a Swan in 2030, or will he be kicking back at his luxury Perth pad? Either way, he will still be a superstar of the competition. Rare is the air when you can be a genuine star midfielder and kick 30 plus goals for the season. In fact, in the past 10 seasons, only 5 players have done it. Dane Zorko and Paddy Dangerfield both did it in 2017. Isaac Heaney did it in 2024. The Bont did it in both seasons 2021 and 2024, whilst Dusty did it for 3 consecutive years from 2017 to 2019. Chad Warner added his name to that illustrious list last season. He made his first All-Australian team in 2024 and was the main driver behind the Swans' early season form, polling Brownlow votes in 9 of the first 11 games of the year. And no, this is not just because he won the Norm Smith medal in just his 31st game. At 18 years old and in his second game of footy, Will Ashcroft had 31 possessions, kicked a goal and collected 3 Brownlow votes. A fortnight later, he would gather more Brownlow votes as he accumulated 26 touches in an Easter Thursday victory against the Pies. In round 7, he would collect another 3 votes to go along with 7 coaches' votes as he gathered 28 possessions and kicked 2 goals in a victory against the Dockers. The kid has been a star from day dot, and might have been the difference between the Lions winning and losing the grand final in his debut season. A knee reconstruction wasn't enough to stop him, as he powered his way back into the Brisbane side for the back half of 2024. In the semi-final against the Giants, he was instrumental in clawing the Lions season back from the abyss. He would smash in for 14 contested possessions, have 9 clearances, lay 5 tackles, set up 2 goals and amass 27 touches. In the grand final, he was irrepressible, gathering 30 possessions, 5 clearances, 6 inside 50s and a goal. This guy is the definition of a big game player. Back in 2019, it was Dusty, Danger and Fife who were the big three. The last 5 years has seen Bont, Cripps and Petrarca take their mantle, with Heaney replacing Petrarca in season 2024. Big, strong bodies who can take the game on, brush their opponents aside, go forward and take a big mark and kick a big goal and will their teams to victory. Harley Reid is the next iteration of that model. The hype was real and the kid delivered early on, earning coaches' votes in his 5th, 6th and 9th games of footy. He faded as the year wore on, but the talent and raw power is there for everyone to see. Dusty Martin is widely considered to be the GOAT. If you get a chance, have a look at his stats in his debut season and compare it to Harley's. They are eerily similar. The question is, can Harley be the spark that drives his team from the bottom to the top of the ladder in the same way that Dusty did? As his tank grows, so too will his consistency and ability to continually impact games. This guy is an absolute animal at the contest and has already shown that he can stand up and be a match winner when his team needs him the most. As I've already mentioned, it's the mids who can impact around the contest and then go forward and kick a goal that are the most valuable commodity in the modern game. Horne-Francis kicked 27 goals last season to go along with 22 goal assists. He might only average 21 touches per game, but so did the Bont early in his career. And just like the early Bont, Horne-Francis is all impact. His output in the front end of the ground is already elite. As predominantly midfielders, only Heaney and Bontempelli took more marks inside 50 and kicked more goals. His clearance work is first class, and once he can find that extra 5 to 7 possessions per game of easier, uncontested ball, he will be up there, winning All Australians, Brownlows, MVPs and best and fairest. A 21-year-old Jason Horne-Francis is already a beast. A 26-year-old version could be unstoppable. Come on, could it have been anyone else? The dude is already a top 5 player in the comp after just 3 completed seasons. He won his first best and fairest in 2024 and is a dual All-Australian and a premiership player. He has won a Coach's MVP award. He collected 38 votes, polling in 18 of 23 games, but remarkably didn't win the Brownlow in 2024. He has already achieved more in 3 seasons than most players do in a whole career. Like Sheasel, early on he was seen as an outside player who relied on others to bring him into the game. Last year, he became an elite inside midfielder. He would also kick 20 goals just to put the cherry on top. Whilst he might lack the raw power of the aforementioned Danger, Fife, Dusty, Bont, Cripps and Petrarca, he more than makes up for it with sublime skill and game awareness. The fact that he has not taken a contested mark in his career, yet he can still put 20 goals on the board, tells you all you need to know about how smart this guy is. Highly motivated and underrated in how tough and tenacious he is, Daicos could go on to forge one of the greatest careers of all time. Bonus prediction. If I had done this list heading into the 2020 season and attempted to predict the top players of 2025, there would have been no Nick Daicos, no Chad Warner, no Tom Green, no Caleb Sarong, and no Errol Goulden, as all were yet to debut. So with that in mind, I'm predicting that there will be at least 5 players who are yet to play an AFL game that will be a part of this list in 2030. As a side note, I just wanted to mention that I think that the guys that are currently top 20 players, such as Bontempelli, Cripps, and Zach Merritt, will all still be playing and might even be influential players in 2030, but not to the extent that they are now. In doing this exercise, I had to work out who the top 20-ish players were in 2025, and the oldest was Max Gawn, who is currently 33. The oldest midfielder was Lachie Neale at 31. That meant that the probability of these guys all being top 20 players at age 34 was highly unlikely. Like I mentioned throughout the video, Dusty, Fife and Danger were the best 3 players in 2019. By 2024, none of them were. Things can change that quickly. And there you have it, folks. My predicted top 20 players for season 2030. Hopefully, I'm still around in 5 years' time to react to it. Now, I'm sure there'll be a lot of disagreements, so feel free to rip into me in the comments below and let me know who you think the top 5 players in the comp in 2030 will be. As always, thanks for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so I can keep going and watch how spectacularly I failed in 2030. See you next time.